Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading room. Is it Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday already. Wow. Okay, hold on here. Bear with me a moment as I find the screen share button. Where'd you go? All right. Yesterday, kind of a bit of a funny day. The market did eventually wind lower as we anticipated, but wow, what a choppy ride on the way down. The overnight, much smoother. You can see here, especially through the Asian session and even most of the European session. The Nasdaq in a bit of a downward funk, and that's leaving us with an opening gap here this morning as the market left off yesterday. Where was it? Somewhere around 76.70, if I remember right. And here we are opening up around the 76.25 zone. So big upside gap. Gaps are always funny. You never know whether the market's going to try to fill that gap or whether that's more of an expansion gap, meaning we can expect to see the market move further in this direction. Right now, though, it looks like we have a little bit of a broad trading range left over from the overnight. And a bit of a downward bent. Had a nice, looks like we had a nice little sell signal here on the Raptor just a minute or two after the open. Number one signal. And that has since found its profit objective. So look at that. You could be 5 minutes into your trading day and you could be done already. That's of course if you're planning on having a modest trading goal and improving your earnings via multiple contracts, which personally I think is the better way to go. So much easier than trying to find multiple trading opportunities. So yesterday, 7,700 was the big number to the market kept responding to this morning. It looks like it's going to be closer towards 7,600 that we're going to see all kinds of activity. Looks like we may actually maybe try a bit of a bull push through here. We're going to the Falcon already bullish, moderately so. The Hawk very, very neutral. The Eagle still full on bearish, but what's caught my eye here is we have a number two signal here in the Raptor. Now it did not print as a number two. It is a counter trend signal though. So it's printed a retest of the low. And here we come now with the number three signal. I may try this What time is it? Oh gosh, we're only like 5 minutes in. All right, let's set this up. I'm going to try to cover below the lows. And if we come back here with a buy signal, I'm just going to lock it in manual mode. Okay, we're getting the warning dot. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe not yet. Maybe I got a little bit too excited there. Okay, so producing another number 3 signal. If this number 3 signal fails, in other words, these lows hold, that would make for a more predictable buy. You could also do the second push here on the number 3. Oop, doggone it, talking too much and not trading enough. Take the second push on the number 3 in anticipation of a break below the low, and that too would have worked out very nicely. Hazards of being a trading room moderator. you sometimes you get stuck explaining stuff. Well, that's all right. We saw there was some decent selling, well, certainly off of this 76.14 high. We can use the primary resistance line here at 76.07. And it looks like we're going to get a pullback to that. And look at that, yet another hard edge bounce with some decent follow through. So the bears taking the buyers to the woodshed here this morning. Looks like our first in-sync eagle signal did not occur until right here. A little bit later than most days. Usually we get that first in-sync signal just a couple of minutes into the day, but here we are. And that also with some decent follow through to it. So that first in-sync eagle signal, you guys can thank Russell for that one. He was the one who brought that to my attention. Wow. We've definitely got a bearish bent on the morning. I'm tempted just to get in any old place, you know, off one of our discretionary signals, just to short it. but I think I'll wait. Oops. All right, so far they're currently holding at 75, well 79 technically, looking a little bit like 75.80, that whole zone. All right, the Falcon already turning bullish. We do have, here's an interesting little formation I haven't shown you for a while. We've got a green bar sell in the hawk. Now, the green bar sell tends to develop near the end of a trend. In fact, oh, I'm not going to have time. What I'll do is I'm going to try to run this one out a little bit. Oh, maybe I do have time. Oh, shoot, there they go. Doggone it. Oh, hold on, wrong button here. Oh my goodness. Get it under control. Okay, here we go. So the idea behind the green bar sell is that it develops near the end of a trend, and you're looking for the market to test the extreme. You're looking for the market to come down here, retest the lows, and possibly fail. And if the market is going to fail, it's going to trade above this zone and head higher. Okay, let's see if they're going to go. So we got a little bit of a pullback now. The hawk getting a little bit more bullish, not decisively so, however, because the bars are still all yellow. But the macro line, at least, is trying to get bullish. Ooh, this is just a crazy, crazy place to be trading right now. All right, so my signal has now canceled itself. Oh, I may have another green bar sell coming up here. And there we go. So I'm going to try to do the same thing with this one now. Look to buy a breakout, a failure of the green bar sell. This is a very aggressive posture because, of course, the current trend is down. So I'm looking for a little bit of a push higher here. And the big obstacle, where was all that selling at before? Oh yeah, we're just here below this resistance line, as you can see. That's 75.91 quarter. So a move back here to 76.07 quarter would be a very strong move, I think. Here on the Raptor, we did print a number 2 signal right here. It did not get a background highlight because it was too far removed from the previous test of the extreme. There's too many bars in here for the programming, but it is still a test of the extreme. Right? We have a trend. We have a retest of that trend, and then we're coming back here with a counter trend signal. You know, it's advisable because of counter trend, just the nature of counter trend, to sometimes employ a second push opportunity to actually see where the market turns and then use that turn as the basis for your entry. It can do a lot for helping keep you on the right side of a trade. All right, so we'll just kind of keep a lookout here. And counter trend trades, when you take them, you always need to realize that they are low probabilities. You should not be surprised if you get tagged out on a counter trend position. That's why I usually try to lock my trades in just with a single contract when I'm going counter trend or attempting to go counter trend. Okay, so here now we've got another counter trend signal. This one printing because we were closer here to the retest. I will look for a second push on this one. Okay, so here now my second push opportunity. So I can plainly see where the market has turned. And actually, if the market turns here again, oh, there we go. We're going to have the market in a bit of a bind. So we could actually, this range is a little bit tight. I'm not going to, oh, maybe I do have time to change my order. I was going to say I'm going to go with an OCO, and I'm going to buy above here, and I'm going to short below here. So we've got the market kind of going a little bit sideways. We produced a buy signal, the market's retreated from. We produced a sell signal, the market's retreated from. So they're obviously looking for some sort of direction here. I just hope I don't get tagged prematurely. So we got the, I'm going to stretch this one out a little bit. We got the fill to the long side. So let's see now what the buyers got. Like I said, we've got a little bit of room to move here. We could potentially look at profit around the 76.07 mark. Hi, David. David asks two questions. I had to reinstall Windows, thus reinstalled Ninja and the Raptor. Now there is a Raptor band counter with so many ticks. Yep, right there. What is it and how do I use it? And then he also asks, a friend of his told them to contact you about the room and the Raptor. If she buys the Raptor, does it include the support and resistance lines? I'll do the easy question first. The support and resistance lines, yes, they are included as part of the Raptor package. So it's what you see is what you get. The only add-on that you see here is the Geiger counter. I have, as you probably already know, I have one add-on per chart just to avoid the clutter a little bit. So I've got the Geiger counter here on the Raptor, the trade forecaster on the Eagle, and the day ranger on the Hawk here. Okay, the band counter. Let's see if Scott's in the room before I badmouth him too much. Oh yes, okay, Scott's in the room. This one of our members, Scott, had this brilliant idea of instituting a band counter. And what it does is it measures the width of the band from the soft edge, so that's the clear edge here, to the hard edge, and it gives you a current count. The idea is that as the band gets broader, as it does right here, the market will be more prone to reversal. Scott's liking this strategy where he's actually looking to pick up the reversal. And in a market like the NASDAQ, what are you up to now, Scott? Are you looking at about a 48 to 50 tick band on a reversal? I know when Jim was in the room for a while, that was kind of his number that he was looking at with the NASDAQ and the mini Dow. If the band got to be about 48 or 50 ticks broad, then he would be more inclined to reverse. And I remember Jim, he was very aggressive on the reversal. So, you know, it's up to you how aggressive you want to be. Personally, I like to wait for the bars to signal, but sometimes that signal can be a little late. I know Jim was getting so aggressive, he would, if the band got to be about 50 ticks broad, he would start buying the first or second bullish bar in anticipation of a reverse. But that's what that is. The band counter helps keep track of the width of the trading band and helps to try to give you a heads up when the market might be more inclined to reverse. By the way, for those of you who have the DTS package, if you want to go to the member site, the Eagle also has a band counter associated with it now. Yes, and Scott makes the point here that as you resize your Renko bars, your band size will also adjust accordingly because it is a derivative of what the bars are doing. All right, so far we're not too bad on our little bullish push. We rode out the first swing. Can we get the second swing too? I'm trying not to be too terribly aggressive here because as the clouds cross, I need to anticipate the pullback and a number one signal to develop. Oh no! Doggone it. Got tagged around the break even on that little move. All right, well, let's put that one back on the shelf. They may not be quite ready to get outside this trading band after all. This little itty bitty sideways trading range that we have going on right through here. While we're waiting for the next setup here, I'll remind you again tomorrow, but there will be no trading room this Monday. Monday, October the 8th. There is no trading room. We've got Thanksgiving holiday here in Canada, and I'm not going to be around on Monday to host the room, so just a little FYI for you. Well, what are they going to do now? We're really, really sideways. Geiger counter's getting a little bullish. That's interesting. No buy signals, though. Well, here we go with the number one signal back toward the low of the morning. look at all that. Let's see if I'm gonna get a second push opportunity on that. No, I was a little bit late again. Okay, so we've got now a second push opportunity. Ideally, you want to risk the trade way up there. Ooh, I can pull it off, but just barely. That's kind of the limit. And let's see whether we get some selling follow through here now. I know I should be taking profit on target, but the market trend just seems to be such that there could be some room to move down here. Mickey's asking, what does the invalid stop parameter do? All right, let me show you. So you're in your strategies window and you're mucking around with your trade manager. Remember, if your trade manager is already on, you're not able to make any changes to it. So you'll need to disable it. So you'll go here, turn that to false, and then click apply. And that will make your trade manager disappear, and now you can make changes to it. Here at the very top, we have invalid trail stop ticks. And if you click on it, you get a brief little description of what it says it does. So it says if the trail is on the opposite side of the market, the stop is initialized at this number of ticks from the entry price. What, you don't understand that? Okay, we could have been a little bit more descriptive. By default, it is set at 10 ticks, and I'm going to show you here in a moment how it works. I would encourage you to increase that substantially because you can adjust it immediately after you take your trade. 10 ticks is going to be far too tight, and you're going to find out that if the market is very active, you're probably going to get stopped out early. So by increasing this value, you give yourself a little bit of time to adjust your trade. So the invalid trail stop ticks, I have mine at 30. I would recommend 30 or higher. Once you've made your changes, go back down here to your enabled tab. Remember to turn it back on and click apply. Okay, so how does it work now? Well, if you have your trade manager turned on, and let's say you wanted to sell this signal that printed right here. It's really hard to see because it's printing right on the line. But let's say for whatever reason you wanted to sell that signal. Okay, so I put my stops here, but oh, wait a minute, my stops are on the wrong side of my trade, right? If I have my stops enabled and I hit the sell button, I can't have a stop right here. The stop's on the wrong side. The stop is supposed to be up here. So this is what the invalid stop does for you. It will now, rather than try to place a stop down here, it will place a stop 30 ticks on the other side. This is what I mean to say if it's 10 ticks, it's going to show up right here. If the market is even the least bit volatile, you're not going to have a chance to grab that stop and get it out of the way before you get tagged. But if you start with a 30 or 40 or 50, even a 50 tick stop, even if it's up here, as soon as that trade goes live, your stops are live, right? So you can grab your stop, you can bring it down wherever you choose. But you need to have that opportunity to do something with your stops, but that's what the invalid stop parameter is for. All right, it's just to keep you in the trade. And like I say, 10 ticks is awfully tight. I would not recommend a 10. The 10 ticks the default. I'm not sure what market you can really trade with only a 10 tick initial stop. So I encourage you to make that a little bit bigger. Okay, speaking of stops, I think it's probably time, given that we saw that little double top there, that I consider bringing my stops in and reducing my risk a little bit. Now, depending how aggressive you want to be on this trade, you see this little bar right here with this little wick on it? That shows you the market trying to buy up at that point and the seller's taking it down. You could bring your stops in at that point and reduce your risk even further. Believe it or not, the best stop was still the original. Why do I say that? Well, because this is where the selling began. It began way up here. If the market goes higher, that's probably where the sellers are going to get interested again here, somewhere around 75.90, 75.91. Okay, well, we're holding on for the most part. Producing yet another number 3 signal. Come on, you know you want to. There we go. You know what? I'm going to get this break even out of the way. We've just got a fair amount of choppiness going on here. This number 3 signal, by the way, was in sync with the Geiger counter. which is encouraging. I know a couple of you use the Geiger counter as a filter on your signals, and I think it's a great use of the tool. Helps show you when the market momentum is in your favor. Come on. There we go. All right, at this point, I'm going to chicken out and take the trade to break even. I sure hope it's not too soon. If I can get a little bit more out of this, a little bit more breathing room here, I'll engage my automatic stops. The E-mini is plowing lower, but so far the NASDAQ a little reluctant to follow suit. You know, looking back in hindsight on today, I could have been a lot more aggressive on my signals. Not the counter trend, avoid the counter trend, but just being more aggressive with each of my with trend signals. I would have had fairly good results overall. This one here may have resulted in a loss depending where I placed my initial stop. If I did keep my stop 2 swings back, however, I think I would have been all right. Certainly on this number 1 signal, I waited too long. And though it looks like I got tagged now at break even. Okay. Well, let's put that away for now. Okay, another hard edge sell. The issue I'm having at the moment is, although this is a little bit of a breakout from the range, isn't it? So if this is our trading range, here's our breakout. Here now is our retest, right? So we look for the breakout. We look for the retest. Oops. And then we look for the market to resume in the direction of the breakout. Once again, stops have to go deep. It's just the way the market is setting up today. Hit the break even, and maybe just to be different, I'll get a profit on this one. Come on. You stinkers. There is room to move here to the short side, by the way. Oh, look at that. Oh, got a profitable trade. I didn't get tagged to break even. Woohoo! Gee, I may have to try that again. Oh, welcome to the wonderful world of trading. it seems to be, I'm experiencing a little bit of slippage here this morning as well. So the market's moving a little bit fast. That is a little bit unusual for the NASDAQ to be slipping. Okay, Mickey has a question about presetting your stops on your Raptor. So once again, we're going to go back to the trade manager. So you're going to go to your strategies window. You're going to go to your trade manager. Remember, you need to disable it. You need to turn it off. And then the account protection parameters. This is where you can preset everything. So if you want to start your trade with he says a 20 tick target and 20 tick stop loss. How can I set this up? Well, you can preset your targets, and I'll show you how you can preset your stop loss here in a moment. Oh, well, actually, with your, okay, let's do the profit first, because that's easy. If you're going to go all in, all out on target, then you can have your T1 percentage, that stands for target 1 percentage, set at 100. So you're going to take 100% of your profit on target. If you want to split up your profit, if you plan on taking more than one contract, you can change these. You can see I have mine set at 50%. So what that does is it gives me a 50-50 trade. So if I'm trading multiple contracts, I'm going to take target 50%, and then the rest will be a runner. But you can see you can preset as many as 3 targets. T1 ticks, so target 1 in ticks. This is where you're going to set your parameters at 20 ticks. Now, what I was thinking was you could go to your default strategy, default stop. Here we go. So near the top, this little section B, current stop indicator parameters, you have your default trail indicator. By default, it is set at ATR. You can also change it to fixed, your fixed tick strategy, and I'm going to show you how that works here in a second. So once you've made your changes, you can come down here. Remember to turn your trade manager back on, apply your settings, and then you're going to have your trade manager with your preset profit target. Let me show you the fixed tick strategy, which is the last one on the list here. So with your fixed tick strategy, you have the option of trailing a stop from the close, the open, the high, and the low. Not quite sure why they included the open in here, but at any rate, there it is. Normally, you're going to be interested in trailing a stop off the high or low. And it's going to be the high or low of the prior bar, not the current bar, rather the prior bar. So let's say we want to trail a stop 20 ticks off of the high. That's where it is. This is 20 ticks off of the high of this last bar. let's say if for whatever reason we were looking to buy this market and we want to now run 20 ticks off of the low. Oh, wait a minute, my stops are on the wrong side. That's because the fixed tick strategy uses a moving average to determine which side of the market the stops need to go. So if this happens to you, all you need to do is you need to put a little minus sign in front of the 20 and then click accept, and now it's running 20 ticks off of the low of the last bar. Now, for what you're suggesting though, Mickey, just by entering your buy and sell market buttons, unless you've already got your fixed tick strategy active. So for instance, let's say we want to go 20 ticks off of the high again. So unless your tab is enabled and you've currently got 20 ticks, your strategy displayed, if you're like me, where sometimes you add the strategy after, which may not be the best habit, but if you currently have your stops displayed and you have a 20 tick target and you just want to trade a single contract, you want to stay in manual mode. If I hit the sell button now, I have my stop at 20 ticks. I have my 20 tick target. Now notice your stop will not retreat, which of course your stop should not do. But that's how you would do it. You would, the fixed tick strategy you can just have enabled, and then make sure you preset your profit target. And oh, look at this. This may actually end up working out. I was just going to get it to break even, so there we go. When you have a market that's trending, these discretionary signals, these little follow-up signals that you see printing, are a great way to get back into the market. If you're unsure, oh dear, I've missed the move. Where else can I short this market from? These follow-up signals, that's what they're for. They tell you that all the signal parameters have been met. However, they don't necessarily qualify as one of our higher probability signals, which are the ones that get the signal prompts. Wow, the NASDAQ fallen out of bed here this morning. As is the E-mini, so the NASDAQ playing catch up with the E-mini. Usually it seems to be the other way around, but not this morning. This morning it looks like the E-mini taking the lead. Yeah, Paul says everything is selling off. It was, it's not a real surprise. We've kind of been talking about it for a few days now. If we take a look here at the daily chart, the talking heads on TV are going to be running around shouting the sky is falling, but we've been anticipating a little bit of a sell-off here, haven't we? We saw how the market just keeps rejecting 7,700. We had this little bit of a tight little wedge going on, but perhaps more importantly was all these tiny little bars with all this big volume. That's a concern. And it's not a bad idea to reference a daily chart from time to time, just to kind of get your bearings. But remember, volume and price has a direct relationship. You normally expect big bars, big, strong looking bars where the market opens and closes way far away. Bars like this, to have big volume associated to it. Now remember, volume is relative, right? As I scroll back here, you can see, yeah, okay, these big bars had big volume. That's good. That's what we anticipate. The problem occurs when you have little bars and what seems to be above average volume. Like, look at these last couple of days, these two bars right here, tiny, tiny bars, and yet look at the amount of trading that was going on there. There was a lot of trading. So when you see that much activity and the market's not going anywhere, you need to sit up and take notice, because something is going to happen. You don't always know what the something is going to be. We could have seen a big strong breakout to the upside, but we knew something was going to happen. So a breakout lower, like I said, not patting myself on the back here, but we did kind of see that coming, that something was going to be going on here. Where will the market go from here? Well, I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade, but there is the potential that it could get back down here to the summer lows, all the way back to 7,000. Now that would be a huge move. I'm not sure it'll get quite that far. 72, 7,300 though, not out of the realm of possibility. It's only been a couple of months since we've seen those numbers. I think 7,400 is a given. So it looks like for the next few days, you can probably short and stay short. It is Black October after all. They'll probably be reminding everybody of that as well on the news. So it's the kind of day, when in doubt, short. Get short, stay short. Yeah, like Mark says, there's that correlation thing we talked about the other day. Everything's heading south. Including some of my friends. Taking off to Palm Desert for the winter. Might have to pack up my clubs and just go say hello. I'm gonna use that. Scott says, Palm Desert is God's waiting room. I love it. That's good. They used to say here of Victoria, here on Vancouver Island, because our climate is relatively mild compared to the rest of Canada. Victoria was the city of the newlywed or the nearly dead, because it's the honeymoon capital of, well, actually, I guess Niagara Falls is the honeymoon capital, but Victoria is a close second. Okay, getting a little bit of bullishness coming back into the market. I wonder how serious the buyers are. Some of this buying can also be attributed to profit taking too. It isn't always active buying. Rather, it's traders thinking, we're an hour into the day, the market's already off almost 100 points from the open. Maybe it's time to bank some of this profit. I do think you need to be cautious on the buy side. It's so tempting to try to buy into a big reversal. And here you can see why. You look at this. So you get the number 2 signal, which you should be suspect of. And you come right back with a number 3. Boom, down she goes. Boom goes the dynamite. Oh, it's scary to be shorting at these levels, but that's the trend. Yes, Steven says the market's too hot for me today. I don't blame you. It's crazy today. Yeah, you can just see how you could pick up almost any of the sell signals here on the hawk, the falcon, the eagle, the raptor. Just short, get short, stay short. Okay, so while we're waiting on that, I'll just mention briefly, I will remind you of this one as well, but a couple of weeks from now, I'm actually going to be out of town the week of the 15th for a few days. All right, things leveling off a little. I got a potential, almost like a double bottom there, but again, you don't want to get too anxious to buy after all this. Look at that. That's just, well, it's beautiful from a charting point of view, but I know a lot of people are going to be wringing their hands over it, but I don't think you need to be too concerned. It happens almost every year. Okay, here comes a bit of a buying push, and the Geiger counter actually in sync with that number 2 signal. All right, here we go. We got nothing going on. Let's demonstrate this. So the advantage of a counter trend signal is you know precisely where you need to place your stop. There is no question when you are on the wrong side of the trade. That does give you the added benefit of normally having a little bit less open risk. because the stop placement generally tends to be a little bit tighter than some of your with trend trades, right? If you try to do this number 3 signal, your stop is probably way up here, double your initial risk. Here I am a little bit late on the signal again. That number 2 signal kind of squirted past, but I'm fairly confident. Oh, we are very close to the hard edge, but I think the market should trickle up there just a little bit. Bring my break-even trigger in somewhat. There we go. So this, again, not printing as a number 2 signal, but visually you can see it is a number 2. We've had the retest of the extreme right here, and now the signal printing, suggesting the market's going to try to go a little bit higher. Okay, maybe they didn't hear me. The market is going to go higher. Get up there. There we go. You know, in theory, this does have the potential to get all the way back up here to 75.75. That's a monster move. I don't know if the buyers got that much in them today. Geiger counter's still green. That's encouraging. Come on, get up there. You can do it. Oh, whew, that was close. Not really. You kind of could see, especially the second signal was a much more reliable signal to take. And they're pretty much right on cue for that little reverse. We are an hour in, and typically that's when you see the market try to reverse on itself, if there's been a defined trend, and we definitely have seen that today. Okay, kind of at the top end of the trading range. Or might be a little premature to call it a trading range, but we'll see. We'll see if the sellers kick back. From here, we know the buyers are hiding down here. All right, we'll put that away. Almost thought we'd see a little bit of a breakout and a chance for a retest, but not quite yet. Hey, nicely done. Mark says there's been a couple nice late filter entry signals for me here this morning, despite the downturn. They've been working out. So there's a little one to the upside. Nice flat trend line filter out of sync back into sync. which is very important. Here's a nice one to the short side. Trend line's a little bit steeper, but that was no doubt just due to the sheer downward momentum. And then here another one to the upside where the trend line getting a little bit flat. Looks like it got up as far as its profit target, but not much more. Bars are getting a little bit thin as well. We're seeing, I don't know, some traders leaving the marketplace now. Well, we've almost got a triple bottom. If the market pulls back and then resumes with the downtrend, we will produce a number one signal as everything comes back into sync. Right, a little bit of a pullback. As I don't know. Are we going to have a bottom? We're really working one, aren't we? You know, if you play connect the dots, it does appear as though we're flattening out here a little bit. Haven't breached any significant swing highs. Not yet, anyway. But to me, it's starting to get a little bit more bullish as well. We can see the even here on the filter, how the filter is starting to break up. So we had this big block of selling. All of a sudden, we got some buying come in. Smaller block of selling, and here we come right back with some buying again. So the next buy signal again will visually be a number two signal, even though it won't print as one, but there it is. We're right in the middle of this whole trading range. The system actually behaved really well this morning. This is one of these days that is going to end up in a textbook somewhere because the market just responding so nicely. but it looks like we're fairly content to stay around 75.50. For the time being. Chances are very good that the market will develop into a sideways trading range for the remainder of the day. I don't think a full-blown reversal is likely. While there will be buying opportunities, I think you need to view them cautiously. So we're battling this support line, the secondary support line here at 75.53. And if we see a little bit of a pullback, our clouds are almost, well, they're about halfway crossed. But the clouds are getting a little bit more bullish now, aren't they? Oh, another late filter entry signal to buy here on the Falcon. Very reliable signal. So I would probably end up having to set it up, well, at least down to here, and ideally even below the low. Okay, here now the early number one signal. Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm going to have to wait for the proper number one signal. So the early number one signal, we just take advantage of the early buy because the clouds are not fully crossed yet. So the signal won't print until the clouds are fully crossed. Wow, I think I got slipped again. Oh no, not that time. So it looks like now might get the pullback and the proper number one signal developing. Come on. No, still sideways trading range. Okay, folks, I need to close up the room here a few minutes early this morning. I do have an online meeting here at the top of the hour. If you're going to keep trading today through the afternoon, I think a little bit of a rally is to be expected. I really can't see them, like I say, if the market gets back here to 75.75, I think that would be a home run for the bulls. Otherwise, you can expect the market to kind of just keep drifting sideways. That's usually what happens after a big push higher or lower. All right, gang, I will see you Friday. Talk to you then. Bye for now.